All right, welcome to the Stretch to Go podcast. I'm Ian Ray, your host, and today I have a Canadian friend here, all the way up north, and his name is Darren Stuart. He is going to be sharing us his story about how he got into fascial stretch therapy, as well as the Stretch to Win Institute, learn about the course, a little bit more about his perspective and how he's using FSD, what he's doing, because he is a family man, and how he's balancing that out, with his career and creating a small business as well. And just learn more about his perspective and his thoughts. So, Darren, welcome to the Stretch to Go podcast.
Hey man, thanks for having me. It's good to see you.
Yes, sir. It's been about a month or so, huh?
You basically been set free into the universe with this. So
Man, all right. So let's dive in, brother. So obviously I want to know your location, the city that you represent, what you're doing currently for work, how long you've been doing it, and first of all, just tell me why FST. So go ahead, brother.
sure. Well, again, thanks for reaching out and having me on. I'm from a little small town in St. Mary's, Ontario, which is just north of London. So it was kind of neat at our course to connect with some people that were from London. So I've been slowly trying to connect with some of those people through FSD, like through here. And
Mhm.
I currently work at a hardware store in my hometown, and I do the FST kind of on the side. I'm starting to, obviously every small business owner, you want to get things off the runway and get it rolling. So I'm working fairly diligently to get that up and going. I've been taking clients weekly now, so it's starting to generate some steam, which is great. But I also work with a bunch of sports teams, mostly sports teams. So in the summertime, it's men's fast pitch. Um, and with that, I think one of the cool things for me to integrate FST into this is I've been a sports trainer for years and been working with, a lot of teams throughout the course of, I guess, my career at various different levels. And now having FST, I'm going to say in my back pocket or at my disposal, has literally taken me and the athletes would tell me, like, just this summer, I've gone from here to here with everything I can do now. And it's a game changer for us. And so it is like, and I see what you're doing, at the soccer domes and stuff, and like tapping into that stuff. Like it's the same here. Like for the baseball fast pitch players and for hockey players, just to get that real deep fascial stretch, they had no idea. And I literally went from a tournament one weekend, taking our course for the week, and then jumping into a tournament the following weekend, and they went, dude, whatever you just did, like there, like, and I said, wow. So to the point where our sponsor of our team, it's the Skelton family. But they, she came to you this one to Cheryl. She says, hey, look, I'm looking to try this. I need to get on the table. So I did. I had her on the table for a session, and she literally went unbelievable. So she says, I got a bad hip and I got bad hamstrings. I'm going, can you do all of that? So she was just floored by what it all entailed. So I don't know about you, but I find for myself, it's a lot of word of mouth. So she starts telling people about it, and then so we were just in British Columbia for a big tournament. And there's people coming up to me at this tournament talking about, hey, you're a stretch therapist, talk to me about this. I'm like, why don't you go on the table? Why don't I show you?
Yeah.
So even if you can get your hands on somebody for 5 minutes or 6 minutes and just show them this, they kind of go, oh, that feels good. Like, that feels different. And honestly, man, like, it's FSC for myself personally. It has, for what I can do with sports in that avenue, has taken you up another level for sure. It's crazy.
Dude, I totally agree with you. Like, that's kind of like we're in the same wavelength, bro. Like the type of people that we're serving. So I'm assuming that's the demographic, the population that you're working with is people who are athletic or sports. What is it, by the way, the demographic population?
It varies. So obviously sports teams,
Mm.
I was committed to that team, actually 2 teams for the summer. Same sponsorship, just 2 different teams. So working with both teams throughout the summer on weekends. But during the week, like I've got a demographic of, I've had high school students come up, and I've had older retirees come. Even my mom, like she wants to try this out because she has, she's like, I got this, I got this, mom. You need to try this. So so I have a wide demographic, like through the business side of it.
Mhm.
So I'm not focused on sports or anything in particular. I've always felt, especially after, and I don't know about you, man, but I felt this after day one at our course. You walked into that building and you walked in, and every trainer greeted everybody.
Yeah.
And Ben McDonald, great guy.
Mhm.
I know I'm plugging Ben right now, but the energy in that room from the instructors from day one was unreal. And you can see it. When you looked around the room and saw all of us UVs in there, and you're kind of going, yeah, like this. And then do you remember the table that there's 4 of us guys sitting on one table,
And
we
you guys
busted the
broke
table
it?
for single
Yeah.
one?
Uh-huh.
Yep.
That's
So then all of a sudden there's 50 people with their eyes on you going, Baba, look at those donkeys that just busted a table. So, but even then, like the energy in that room is unparalleled. But it was an impact right away that I felt from the instructors and from the group. So I felt with FST, if I can make that impact with somebody who gets on the table and I can impact them. So they come in and say, hey, my hips lot, jammed up, or I've got this, or I'm doing this. If they get off the table in a day or a couple of days or whatever later, they say, hey, I feel terrific. That's the
Mhm.
impact I want to make. And I've seen that. And I don't think I've had a session where I haven't made some sort of impact. And that's just the power of that FST and how beneficial it really is.
Dude, it is. I like how when people are coming in and they're asking you like, what is FSC? You tell them, let's hop on the table. That's great. Instead of explaining it, it's like, let me show you,
Yep.
let me help you feel it. Because it is.
Yep.
You can explain
100%.
it, but it's totally different night and day.
Yep.
So on
100%.
top of that, I guess like what do you typically do? Like when you hop on a table, is there like a certain like stretch that you typically go into right away? Whether if it's like a straight leg, sack of buns, or what is it?
So telling and teaching somebody what a sack of buns is right off the hop is a little, some people might think it's spicy or sketchy, but,
Uh,
which, and again, and we were learning that we kind of, what is a sack of buns? Like, what is this? Um, but first thing I'll try to do is traction. And I love doing like single leg traction or double leg traction just because it feels good. And then from traction, I'll do some lateral net stuff and just get the legs flowing, get the hips going. Do some single leg stretches, some straight leg series stuff. If they really are feeling something, I'll even try a glute stretch, and take it into a little series like that. And then they can start to feel, holy cow. And I just had this with a client last week. They said, we can stretch all we want ourselves, but what you just did felt completely different than what I can do at home. And I don't know if you feel the same thing. Like this morning I was just doing a stretch, and last night I was stretching myself. And it does. It feels different than actually somebody having their hands on you and actually taking you through a series.
yeah.
And that's what I've always said, Nick. I do personal training and strength and conditioning too on the side.
Mhm.
And I like to pitch it now where I'll put somebody through a workout. After workout, let's get on the table and we're going to stretch out. The people that like it just blends itself in so well.
The fact that like you can stretch yourself out, I think it's different because you know your limits mentally. You know how far you can go. But if you have a coach or like for us as a practitioner, we know we can feel it. We can feel where your limits are, your first range of motion. But you, as the practitioner, also have the ability to help them get to that past that range of motion. So it is a different concept. It's like a personal trainer. You know that they can only do so much sets, but you're pushing them. You're gently getting them over that barrier. And so same for us as practitioners, we have the magic test. So I truly tested that. So tell me, Darren, I know we're kind of going to I want to bring it back eventually to the FST, but what's your backstory of like, how you got into FST, what you're doing currently? I mean, tell me a little bit more, because I want people to kind of relate to you as, the speakers that of, if they're getting to FST, I mean, not everyone's a personal trainer or not everyone's, a chiropractor, but just give me your story, brother.
Yeah, so you know what? It started actually back in 2019. So
Mm-hmm.
I was working in a Canadian football league up here as the equipment guy, and I always had this interest in the medical side of stuff, injury prevention or rehab. So working in the CFL and seeing the athletic therapists do their thing, I thought, hey, not only can I do laundry and fold towels, I can do that. But how do I do that? So I, I was at a point in my life where I was on the older scale of things, I'm going to say, but I didn't want to invest 4 years of school to go back full time. So I always taken some general interest courses just to kind of get me into the realm of sports. I stayed involved with sports teams, but I was always on the equipment side of things. And in 2020, I actually got hired in MLB with the Los Angeles Angels as a clubhouse guy, as an equipment guy. And then COVID happened. So it didn't pan out the way, because everything got shut down in 2020. And then in 2021, Canada up here had, if we crossed the border to the States, we had it coming back, we had a 2-week quarantine period. So it just never really transpired on that side. But I always kept in the back of my head, what can I do more, or how can I better myself, whether it's in sports or whether it's in our town or whatever. So I was working at a factory at a sun plant, and shift work, horrible. Uh, I don't, it's not, it's, you make terrific money, but I realized very quickly there's more to life than making money. So I wanted to better myself. So I made a decision to leave this facility or leave this cement plant, and it took my package, and that's where I sunk it back into taking my personal trainer and my strength and conditioning, and then ultimately the FST was stretched to win. But I have to go back to 2019 again. I know I'm backtracking here a bit, but there's a place here in London called Stretch Health Canada.
Yes, I heard about that.
And yeah. So Rui, I don't know if you remember that guy who came to our last day on Friday.
Yes.
Of our course. He comes up to me and I said, hey, I'm here. And he says, hey, I talked to you. And I went, pardon? And he remembers the email I sent him in 2019 asking what do I need to do to become an FST practitioner. And he sent me a link. I swear.
2019.
2019. He brought up the email on his phone at lunch on that Friday of our course and said, look, I talked to you here. And I went, 2019. So the idea had always been in my head. And it was, I'm going to say it was in my head since 2019. So then when I left the strength plant, I started taking my courses. So I did my personal trainer, I did my strength and conditioning, and I thought, there's got to be more. There's got to be more. What can I do? And then it clicked. And I said, stretch to win. It's the FST stuff. Become a practitioner. Get into that, because not only can I do the equipment side of things or personal training or the strength and conditioning, but I can add some sort of modality that's going to enhance an athlete's performance or recovery. Why wouldn't? And that's exactly what it is. So then I reached out and I realized I was up here. Like I remember you talking with Kayla there in your last podcast about, you coming to Canada to do it up here. I dove in. Like I said, I took my package that I did from the stim plant and I sucked it into that. But I used it as an investment on myself. And investing in myself is going to help impact others. And I know that, we know that, and the instructors and all I'm going to say the students that were in that course know that. Now it's just getting out there, like I said, like getting people on the table and getting that touch to them.
Yeah, dude. See, that's kind of story that I like to hear. It's everyday people,
Sure.
just trying to chase the dream. Sick and tired of what they're doing. I think kind of like since COVID, I kind of had that shift change too. Is like, what do I really want to do long term? What's gonna make me happy? Doing what I'm doing, because I know for a fact, brother, like you have kids, I have kids, and it's so you want to be there for them, but you also want to provide, but you want to be happy as a person,
Yeah,
doing what you're doing. So
100%.
I can, that story kind of hits me, brother. So,
Yeah, absolutely. Man.
so so is that the story basically how you heard about Stretch to Win FSC is through this, to the owner of the London,
Yep.
stretch? Okay.
Yep. And it was through Rui. And so it's funny. So on my phone, I have a whole bunch of tabs open still that I'm browsing, right? And
Mhm.
every time I browse my phone, it comes up, Stretch to Win, click to register. And I sat there, I sat on it for a while because obviously there was, and Kevin Darby talked about this, and a lot of these reps talked about, hey, we understand that this is a financial, it's a financial commitment. And it
Mhm.
was. So I always got stalled on click to register. And I always,
No way.
I'm not kidding. I was like, do I pull the trigger? Do I not pull the trigger?
Hmm.
Finally, one day I got up and I said, you know what? Heck with it. Do it. Boop. And I did it. So that was just it. And it's just one day just clicked. But through that course, like through that week, like how many great people have been connected with, like, well, I'm crazy you and I right now.
Hmm.
But I still remember that day that we sat outside and had lunch together, and you're talking about how you're from Hawaii and how you moved, and just I'm like, dude, that's pretty awesome. And then, but being able to connect with people through the socials and seeing what they're doing now after our course, unbelievable. And that's what brought us to this today.
Yeah, dude. How I heard about Stretch to Win was through social media. Because I was working at a PT clinic, and basically, the short story is I found out someone was doing the practitioner was doing Stretch to Win. I saw the band. I was like, I've seen that band a couple times, people. So I was like, let me go look up Stretch to Win, and then from then on, I got hooked. I kept, wanting to learn more about how to become certified through Stretch to Win. Eventually, I popped onto the website, and I was kind of sold because I was already doing assisted stretching. I just didn't have that modality, the training to do it. So that's great for you. I mean, that's great that you finally clicked that button after so many times just looking at your phone. I'm sure.
Yeah, absolutely. It was wild, man. How it just let's do it.
Did you have any initial thoughts or hesitancy at all? I mean, besides clicking to register, did you have any going into the course, or were you kind of like sold already because you had you reached out to this guy how to become FSD? Two, you had it there on your phone ready to register, but did you have any hesitancy, any thoughts?
Oh gosh, yeah. I think the nervousness set in very quickly after when we got into the group and started talking about everybody's background.
Mm-hmm.
There's a bunch of massage therapists, there's some chiropractors, there's some ETs, there's all kinds of people. But what I quickly found out, and I'll go back to that whole energy and that whole vibe, was there was a there was a room full of people that had the same vision, that were all like-minded, but they were open-minded, and you could feel that right from day one. And Kevin spoke on that very quickly, and I can't remember who else, one of the instructors, like right first thing said it. If you have an open mind here, everyone's going to do very, very well.
Okay.
And you just kind of feel the room just settled in. And I felt that. But yeah, I was absolutely hesitant because, like, I'm not massage, I'm not RMT, I'm not PT, I'm not an AT. I don't have any of those designations.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, it's intimidating. But what I do have is a lot of background and experience working at pro sports and just working amongst teams. So it just kind of makes sense to add the modality and to do it.
Yeah. So how are you including FST? I mean, with your clients? Because then, so how big is your population in St. Mary's? I mean, is it a pretty big population, or?
We're about 6,500, 7,000 people. It's fairly small in relation to other places. I call it a small town. We used to though have a stretch therapist in our town, and this is kind of also the spark that kind of pushed me to click the link was that they just up and gone. They left our town. So our town though loves this stuff. Like, and I'm starting to find out that people want to tap into it. So being, you know, in the town now as a practitioner, just
Mm-hmm.
kind of made sense. But I can service 15 minutes away, there's a big city called Stratford. I can tap into that. I can, even tap into London. I can tap into the surrounding area. So it's just a matter of getting out there, putting myself out there, and connecting with people, right? So whether
Yeah.
it's through sports or social media or whatever, it's just as a small business owner, like you said, you got to pay the bills, you got to make it work, but you love it. I love that impact and making that impact with people. And it does, like I said, it doesn't matter if it's a high school student or a retired guy or client, whomever, that just wants a good stretch because they want to feel good. Or whether it's the athletes, like you make that impact, that's what it's all about.
So share with us a success story or any wins you've had so far since the course of an FST session or with a client currently.
Yeah. Gosh, there's a bunch. I'm not gonna take up that much of your time, but I think I feel like there's a client just last week actually said, I've been he plays like slingshot. It's modified fast pitch, and he says, he's an older guy, and says, I have a muscle right here in my butt that hurts every time I run, and my hamstrings are tight. I said, my hips are locked up. I said, I can absolutely try my best to help you with this stuff. Well, he said on the table, he says, I have never felt that stretch go so deep or be so impactful as what is happening right now. I said, perfect. That's exactly what I want. And then it was his wife that set it up. Well, she messaged me the next day or a couple of days after and said, he feels incredible. Whatever you did has unlocked something for him. So, and in turn, he's talked to his ball team and had two other people from his team reach out to me for sessions next week, which is amazing. So again, it's just getting that touch, making that impact and doing it. But I would say that's a big one. And even my sponsor, like I said, I got on the table too and said, hey, let's try this. Let's give it a go. And she got up and she just went, holy smokes, to the point where she said, I'm gonna hire you and I'm gonna adopt you as my son and you're gonna live in my basement. I said, all right. So yeah, it's pretty awesome.
Dang. So
Yeah.
how do you explain to someone who doesn't know anything about FST? Obviously, that you've had people being referred to you, but someone, let's say, pretty new, has never done any exercise or nothing about science. But how would you explain it as an analogy wise of what fascia is?
Very, very quickly, I think how we saw it, me learned is the finger jerk. And I do that. And people are actually amazed and they say, I literally just do that, the finger jerk, for 10 seconds.
Okay, so
and I say, this is what I can do.
Show us to the audience what this finger stretch.
Okay. So it's, you take your finger and you bend it. And see where it is without putting all the force on it. See where your finger bends. Okay. Now, what I do with people is I say, grab your finger for about 10 seconds, move around, pops. That's not a bad thing. Just don't break it for 10 seconds. And then move it around a little bit. And then after that, see where it bends now. And people are amazed by the, what? And I'm like, that's what that ST is. So whatever you just did to your finger, let me do that to the rest of your body, and you're gonna feel good. And that's the quickest way I show people is I say, this is what FST is. And I do that finger trick. And people are actually amazed. Yeah, it's true. It's quick. It's easy. But it literally shows somebody what this is all about.
Dude, yeah, because I know Chris Frederick does that same thing too, but then he does like a traction up and then like bend then backwards to see that range of motion. But that's a different one. It's like, yes, we do a lot of circumduction, a little traction, like you said. So that's awesome, bro. That's visually that's a good way. So thank you.
100%. Yeah, man.
All right. So I think you probably hit on this already, but what would you say to that one person who's on the fence about enrolling with Stretch to Win to do this FST course?
To do the course, I think if someone's on the fence with it, you gotta take the jump. You gotta take the plunge. I will, and this isn't a plug to stretch swing because this is the truth, but this is the best course I think I've ever taken. Um, for me, physically and mentally,
Hmm.
I mean, to be able to provide this modality, it's an eye opener. Like I had no idea, and how big this is going to be. And honestly, the doors that it has opened already and that it's going to open are going to be amazing. So, if, like I can't stress it enough that if you're on the fence with it, just do it. Yeah, jump in it, jump at it. Like you're never gonna know unless you try. And I know it's an old cliche thing, but it took me since 2019 to finally say, hmm. So my advice is don't wait from from 2019. Do it, and you'll see, or someone will see the impact and the difference that it's made. Because it's made that on myself.
So, in closing, for those who don't know much about stretch2win.com, so Chris and Ann Frederick, the founder of this modality of fascial stretch therapy, they have 25 years of experience doing FST. They're the originator. They've written many books. They actually are. I think Chris is actually, I want to say he works with NASM, so National Academy of Sports Medicine. I think he's like he oversees a lot of the FST part of teaching people about stretching. So, I mean, they're legit for sure. So if people are on the fence about it, you can always go to stretch2win.com, learn more about it for yourself, and as well, you can go to stretch2go.lsu.com to learn more about what I do, why I got into it, and I want to know a little bit more about Darren's business as well. So if I want to promote your business, so people in the St. Mary's area and surrounding can learn more about what you do, how to get in contact with you. So please share with us your social media handle, a way for them to
Sure.
contact you. And yeah, and then of course the location. So go ahead.
Sure. So like you said, it's St. Mary's, Ontario. My Instagram is Darren S.Snail. And then my Facebook is Darren Stuart. If you're in the area or want to connect to talk about that stress, then let's start a conversation because that's literally what it is. It's just having a conversation about something that I feel can provide a tremendous service and open a lot of doors. I don't have a website yet. As a small business owner, getting up and running, I think it's in the works. So one day, but not today. So, but it'll get there. But I've got a bunch of brochures and stuff that I handed out in town here and different businesses. And I think that's been a big thing for me is I've connected with a bunch of gyms here so far, and get it out there. And actually, I love my studios, so I've connected with a bunch of folks like that own businesses themselves and say, hey, I feel this could really make an impact on people you provide a service to. Let me provide a service to. Let's work together. And I think that's what it is. And being in a small town that's had a lot of small business owners that I talked to in the store, we've talked about how do we connect? How can we team together? And how can we make this a go? Yeah. Up here, I don't want to say down in your area, but up in a small town, when you see stores that are closed and run down, it just gives the town a bad look and a bad vibe. So if you could help another small business owner thrive and do well, keep their doors open, you're really helping everybody.
That's true.
So
yeah.
Man,
brother. Well, thanks so much, man, for hopping onto this podcast. I appreciate your insight, your story, your energy, brother, about doing FST. So thank you so much. Appreciate it.
Thanks for having me. And I from episode 1, I love this. I subscribed, I tuned in, and keep doing what you're doing too. So this is pretty awesome.
Thank you, sir.
All right,
all right. Take care. Talk to you soon.
All right. Thanks, Ian.
Bye.
Bye.